Congrats on getting beyond 1 million. What got you here won't always get you there. This is a podcast for entrepreneurs who want to reach beyond their 7-figure business and scale to 8, 9, and even 10 figures. I'm Brad Weimert, and as the founder of EasyPay Direct, I have had the privilege to work with more than 30,000 businesses, allowing me to see the data behind what some of the most successful companies on the planet are doing differently. Join me each week as I dig in with experts in sales, marketing, operations, technology, and wealth building. And you'll learn some of the specific tools, tactics, and strategies that are working today in those multi-million, 8, 9, and 10-figure businesses. Life can get exciting beyond 1 million. This week is Bashar Katou. He is a client of EasyPay Direct, and he has built a sizable business on the back of one product, one channel. And that channel is social media. We're going to get into the nitty gritty of how he got to more than 2 million a month by building up his social profile. You're not going to want to miss this one if you've ever been interested in social. Bashar Katou, I appreciate you carving out some time, man. It's good to see you.
Good to see you, man. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So you have been a client of EasyPay Direct for a while.
Yes.
And I've gotten to see the company grow. And more recently, I've kind of dug into the background of how it started to happen. But you are one of these people that has seemingly built a sizable business through leveraging social media. So you've created some funnel in social. And I want to dig into that part of it. But rewinding a little bit, I guess, first and foremost, can you give me some idea of size and scope of the current operation?
So up until last year, I guess, if you had asked me that question 2 years ago, it would have been different than last year. It would have been different than today. But we went from like 5 people in 2020 to 122 people in 2022, late 2022. Multiple 8 figures, both 2021, 2022. And then we kind of, over the last few months, we've hit like a nosedive. And that's kind of the thing that I was telling you about, of like going from an offer to a real company. Right now we're about 38, 39 people, 37 people.
Wild. Yeah. Well, let's dig into that, but let's start at the beginning. So, we were talking a minute ago and you said that you started as a restaurateur.
Yes.
With, I think you said not a great culture.
No.
And weren't enjoying the physical community that you had that you were overseeing. So why don't we start there? What was that about, and how'd you transition?
Well, I was raised by a father who told me that, you're the boss, and everyone else is just an employee. And in order for the boss to be the boss, you can't be your employee's friend, And because there's that invisible line, once they pass it, it's like you can't tell them what to do anymore. So he would literally walk around my place, and every time he'd see me talking to my employees, he would like come and tell me stop talking to them, And so I had this like inner conflict of like, these are cool people that I want to hang out with and become friends with, but then I have my father in the back of my mind saying, you need to be a boss, and for you to do that, you can't be their friend. And so because I had that conflict, and I was a 23-year-old kid owning a business, managing tens of employees. I just didn't have the experience. I had too big of an ego. I had all this conflict happening, and I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I didn't know how I was running the place. And it's not only about did I not know what I was doing, but I wasn't aware enough to ask for help. Although I was, it was being proposed to me every now and then because people really cared and really wanted the establishment to grow. And so that whole environment just became toxic because people did not feel appreciated. I thought they sucked, because I was working 120 hours a week. I was just a hardworking guy that's like, I don't believe in no's. It's like everything is possible. And there was people with limited mentalities, but then they didn't feel appreciated. So the whole thing was just a mess, to be honest with you. And that place burned down to ashes, literally, caught on fire midday during service. And I had no insurance. One of my unpaid bills was my insurance bill.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So I lost about $500,000 that I had invested over 3 years, came out of the $150K in debt. And then a few months later, I learned about this online thing, and that became
Hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
Hold on. So your business burned to the ground.
Yeah.
What kind of restaurant was it?
It was like a pizzeria, sit down type of place.
Okay, so sit down. So you had servers, which managing servers anyway is an interesting dynamic, right? Because it's high tip, low wage, high turnover typically, and you were running in the red. You hadn't paid the insurance bill. That's how you ended up with no insurance.
Yes.
Oh man.
Yes.
Okay, so that's brutal. Were you making any money with that restaurant?
No, I don't think I ever made any money. Like in terms of like, taking the whole 3 years, it never made money.
Do you think that was because, why was that? Because now you're doing seemingly a good job, and we'll get into specifics of the numbers now. What do you think it was about that proposition? Do you think it was solely the leadership side of things? As you said, the dynamic between you and the employees, or was there something else there?
No, I take full responsibility for it. It was a combination of being young with, lack of experience, having a big ego to ask for help. And because like lack of experience is never an excuse, because there's like, it's not like I'm trying to go to Mars. People have done this before, so it's about how to understand what you lack and then trying to, I guess you could say, cover that with someone else that has those skills. And so I knew everything. I had all the answers to everything. No one knew more than me, And so there is a level of like incompetence in saying, okay, I lack these experiences. I need to go and find someone who has these skills to help me. And so that wasn't even like, that did not exist for me, And I'll be honest with you. I mean, many times until today, I struggle sometimes with ego. I mean, it's not anywhere near what it used to be, but I don't know. I don't know if it's maybe because of the culture that I grew up in, whatever it is, whether if I, inherited it from my father or something, I'm not sure. But it's one of those things that it's always like a constant struggle of, because I think ego is important. Like you need to have some ego, otherwise you'll get run over. But it's like, when is it too much, where it's just like blinding you? And it was completely blinding me then.
Lots of thoughts on ego, but I think that this will unfold a little bit as we talk about your story. So you found the online thing. When you say that, how did you get introduced to it? What was it?
Yeah, so I had a high school friend that I reunited with a few months after my restaurant burned down, and he said, we're talking, what do you do for a living? Blah blah blah. I had told him what I was doing, and he said he works from home. And to me, it just didn't make any sense. I was like, what do you mean you work from home? How do you work from home? Like, do you have like a home office where people come to you and you do business for them, or like what exactly is it? It's like, no, I work online. And at the time, I think I was doing marketing for an agency. I don't know exactly. I don't remember what he was doing, but it was just the concept that he was from his house on his computer on the internet making money that really intrigued me,
Sure.
And so coming out of that experience of like, I don't want to deal with people anymore, I was very intrigued. I, got online, started researching how to make money online, and I found, everything there, anything that you find today: real estate, crypto, affiliate marketing, e-commerce, all that stuff. And Amazon was one of them, and it just stuck with me, and it sounded really good, and I started digging into it. Launched some products, failed. Finally realized that, okay, I probably need to learn from someone that knows what they're doing. Bought a course, figured out a few things, launched a few more products. Those did well. And then that kind of became what it is today.
Yeah. So today, the core company, BJK, is teaching people how to build Amazon stores. Is that the gist of it?
Yeah. Essentially 4 years into building an Amazon store for myself, realized that, okay, I can make good money with this. And this is a very lucrative skill that not only I can benefit from, but other people can benefit from. Few friends had found out. They started asking me for help, started helping them out. They were getting results. And I realized that, okay, I can not only do it for myself, I can help others do it. It can be a lucrative business. And so I'm helping other people at the same time, building myself another stream of, revenue stream. And then probably about 6-8 months into it, I realized that I had more passion for teaching people and educating people and improving their lives than just focusing on my own thing. And so I just kind of went all into it. The first 2 years, it was just focused around Amazon. Now the plan is to branch out of just e-commerce and Amazon and go into other verticals, teaching people different skills. So just like a university, you don't just go to, to get an engineering degree or to get this thing or that thing. There are all these avenues that you can take, and they all lead to the same road, which is, I guess you could say, financial freedom or improving your life, So that's essentially what we're trying to accomplish.
So, what strikes me about that is the transition around kind of your core interests. And I want to dive into the current company because I think there's a lot of learning there. But initially, the allure seemed to be, hey, here's this thing where I can control my destiny, right? I can work from home. And what I'm selling isn't as important as the vehicle. And you said you tried to sell a few different products and didn't get them to work. And tell me if I didn't get that right. But you then moved to something where you said the language you used was, I was more interested and passionate about teaching people how to do it than selling a product. Do you think that, first off, is that accurate, or were you into the products that you were selling on Amazon? You had some interest in them?
No, it wasn't an interest. It wasn't that, I was, like 80% of the products that I sold on Amazon, I've launched over 100 products since I started. Over 80% of the products that I've sold on Amazon, I didn't even know existed until I found them. So it wasn't like a passion. We have like maybe 10, 20% of our students come to us and they're like, hey, I've got this thing. I've got an invention. I'm really passionate about this thing. I built this thing and I have retail stores and I want to take it online. So they have their own product that they're like passionate about. For me, it wasn't about that I was passionate about the product. It was more of a business that I utilized to clear my debt, to retire my parents, marry my wife. And it was a business. That's all. That's literally all it was. It was about finding a good product, delivering a good product in a convenient way to my customers in the cheapest way possible, where they can win and I can make a profit, and then scaling those as much as possible.
Now that you're, multi-eight figure, do you have any strong feelings about whether it makes sense about, I should say, the best path for an entrepreneur to pursue something that they're driven by passionately versus pursuing a business for the sake of the financial outcome?
I've always had mixed feelings about this, about like following your passion or not. If you're 5 years old and you picked up a soccer ball and you're just really good, or you dunked a basketball and you're like 6'5" and you're like 10 years old or something like that. If you're just a great quarterback or a great singer or whatever, and you realize that early on, then you have a skill. This is like you could say it's a God-given skill. You should follow that. You should pursue that, because that's something that you were technically born with, and it can probably become very lucrative into providing you with a great life. Otherwise, for the average person like you and I, maybe your story is different, but I know for me personally, I didn't have any God-given skills. It was just hard work, and there was no passion involved, because I went into business trying to make money. That's all it was. And then when that failed, I went into business again because I wanted to get out of that rut and get out of that debt and get out of all the BS that came, after it. So it was just, I was in survival mode pretty much. It was like, I'll do anything and everything. I don't care as long as it pays, But then I think there's a level where you get to a certain level where now you need to go from scarcity to abundance, And that's the thing that I've been trying to navigate, And when you go there, because, you get to a point, let's say if you don't have any debts, if you're driving a nice car, if you live in a nice home, you have a nice life, you're making, I don't know, whatever, 10, 20, 30 grand a month, take home. It's like, that's not normal. Like if you're making 20 grand a month and take home, like that's not normal. $250,000 a year of take home, that's not normal. That's not like an average or anything. The average household income in America, I think it's about 50 or 60K. So it's like 3-4 times that. That's not normal, right? And so there's that threshold where like life is different now. The you could hustle and stuff like that. That's cool, but it's like there's going to be something that's driving you that's more than just the money. Otherwise, you will get to a point where it's like, what am I doing all this for? Because business is not easy. Like yesterday, I opened my laptop after, being excited to go and do something awesome. And I got a resignation letter from someone that I was not expecting to resign. And it literally punched me in the gut because I was like, fuck, we're finally going to go into a stabilizing quarter. Like literally Q3, I was like, we're not going to do anything. We're just going to stabilize. We've launched 3 programs in the last literally 2 weeks. Let's just stabilize everything we have. Let's get us, back to going back up again and stuff like that. And then I got that and I'm like, holy shit. So now literally my world got turned upside down all day yesterday trying to navigate what is the next step, And so, like business people don't do it for the faint of heart, like you and I both know it's like there's BS all the time. The reason why I found you guys was because I got kicked out of my other, what's it called?
Merchant
account. And then I found you guys, and that's a whole nother story we can go into later. But, there's got to be a driver. Like I literally sat there yesterday. I'm like, why am I doing all this? Like, what the hell is it all for? Like, I'm tired, man. I'm just tired, And then after 15 minutes, it's like, no, because you have a why now. It's not about the money anymore. There's a strong why that's pulling you. It's not about you anymore. It's not about you or just the 40 people that you employ, or it's about other people. And that's, I think, that shift has to happen. Otherwise, you'll something like this will happen and you'll be like, what, fuck it. I'm done. I'm just going to fold and go fuck off, get a job or something like that. And that's it,
Yeah. I tend to believe that a lot of people get in their own way in the pursuit of that why and never get started as a result. And so I both agree with you. I think we're going to say the same thing, but I agree that there is a point at which you have to find something that's pulling you in the direction you want to go. You have to find another reason to do it other than just money. And it could be the love of the game if you actually do love it. And there are some people that just love it. Or it's got to be something else. But in the meantime, while you figure that shit out, just do something. Because you're more likely to figure it out if you get some reps in and start producing and creating and designing and iterating and solving problems than if you just sit there on your couch and think about it. So more often than not, for me, I find people that find purpose or passion or a why later in their business journey versus the entrepreneur that starts and has some magical thing pulling them from day one.
Right.
So you got started online. You had some stores on Amazon. You had a few products that started to do well. And then you started BJK to sell products. Tell me about that journey because, tell me about that journey. Mm-hmm. So in the beginning, when you were going from 0 to 1 million, what was different then versus, let's say, today in terms of your marketing? What were the iterative paths there?
Well, in the beginning, I think is just about getting something out there that people want. I think a lot of people get very busy with like busy work. And they forget that, just because you have something to sell doesn't mean there are people that want to buy it, Like I remember I'd be, joining webinars and just kind of seeing like what the competition is doing. And I'd look at their stuff and it's like, dude, this guy does not know what the hell he's talking about, And then I'm here, like I have this great offer, this great product, like I will do anything. Here's my cell phone. Call me at literally that was my offer. It's like, I will get you the results. My program is $3.99. It's lifetime access. It's anything and everything you want. I will do one-on-one with you every single day if you want me to. Here's my WhatsApp. You want to message me on Facebook? No problem. You want to message me on my cell phone? No, like literally whatever you want, And no one was buying. So first you got to find a product market fit. Like, do people actually want what you're selling, And then you just got to do it. You just got to go out there and like, just do it. Put it in the hands of people. The reason why we got kicked off of Stripe and how I found you, because you log into the program, I was selling to 9-to-5ers, a bunch of people that have never launched a business in their lives. And my program was just complicated as shit. They'd come in and it's like, video 1, week 1, how to find a product. And here's like this 1.5 hour long video. And people would watch it and get overcomplicated. Like, what is this shit? Because for me, it's like, look, I want actionable stuff. Like, I want someone to tell me what to do, give me it all in 30 minutes and let me go do it. But then it's like, dude, you can't just make it for you. It's like, think of the other person. Like, you got to remove yourself from your shoes and put yourself in your customer's shoes. So we started getting a bunch of refunds. We started getting a bunch of disputes. And for me, it was like, screw yourself, man. I'm giving you all this and you're disputing? Like, go screw yourself. And then until, Stripe was like, we're not doing business anymore with you. You got 3 days to get the hell out of, get the hell off of our platform. And then I was stuck, I tried Square, I tried this, I tried that, and it was stuck until I found you guys. And then since then, it's like, okay, well, maybe there's something here. Like if they don't want you on their platform, is that normal for everyone else? And then I started asking around. I was like, no, that's not normal, man. There's something wrong with your program. Okay, well, gotta start looking within. And I think like the lesson learned there, it's like, it's very easy to point fingers at people. And the hardest thing is like taking responsibility and saying, okay, where did I fuck up? How can I fix it? Because at the end of the day, you can control your actions and your reactions, but you can't control how other people show up. Like, again, I looked at this resignation letter yesterday and I'm like, after everything that I've done for you, are you kidding me? I did fuck up the week before. I said something that I, hindsight 2020, looking back at it, it's like, well, I could have probably communicated my message with a better, word choice. But it's like, are you serious? Like, we've been together for almost 2 years now. This one thing, and now you hold it against me. So I started there. But then I was like, wait a second. Let me take responsibility. What can I learn from this? Got on a call. Is there anything we can do? Person is fixated on, this is just the best thing for both of us. No problem. What's the next step? Take responsibility, because you could fix that, where if you don't take responsibility, you can't fix that. You know what I mean?
I do. Yeah. I love the self-awareness around that. The people that I want to spend time with in life in general are those that take ownership of their actions entirely. And I have a fundamental belief that there are very few absolutes in life, and you can always do something about your outcomes. Now, sometimes you can have a ton of control in the action you take and how it impacts the outcome. And sometimes you can barely move the needle. So you can't control everything, but you can always have an influence. So let's jump into, I want to talk about, like, I like the mindset behind that and the ownership with it, but I'm curious about the sort of marketing tactics outside of just product and delivery and creating a good product. Curious about the marketing tactics that brought you to the current state. When we started, you talked about product versus brand and that making that transition right now, which presupposes that it had been about offers versus brand. It had been about different offers along the journey, but you built a multi 8-figure company through offers. So what was the marketing path like, and when did it spike? Did you have a jump off point where all of a sudden there was a significant change in volume? Tell me about that journey.
Yeah, so there's I don't know if you've heard of the book Organizational Physics.
I have not.
Great book, not a very big read, but it essentially says that the cycle of any business, any product, any project, anything really, there's 3 cycles. There is innovation, there is production, there is stabilization. So you innovate, you find something, you crack the code on something. There's that new S-curve, right? And then you start producing, and you just produce. And then after you produce a bunch, then you got to stabilize, right? So whatever it is, you did a launch, you got to X amount of units per week, per month, per day, whatever it is. And then you got to stabilize there. And then you innovate again, you produce, you innovate, you stabilize, and so on. So for us in late 2020, I had tried, I started my business, my consulting business organically, just communicating with people on Facebook, getting them on the phone, closing them myself, and then went to Facebook, Instagram ads until one day I woke up and my ad account was shut down. Which, literally, like, I don't even know how many people have had that issue. And then from there, I went to YouTube trying to make that work, and I just couldn't figure it out. And then I found out about this thing called Instagram shoutouts, and this was pretty early on. So this was late 2020. Met a couple of guys, and we innovated. We figured out this thing, and then bam, so just kind of giving you a perspective based on numbers. January 2021, our business did 150,000 or something like that. January of 2022, we did 2.3 million.
Wow.
So, like 12x, 13x, whatever the number is. And that was because we had innovated. We found, we innovated Instagram shoutouts. No one really did it at the level we were spending about, on average in 2022, we spend about $325,000 a month on shoutouts. I don't think anyone else in the industry has done it. Now you could argue that someone like Fashion Nova or, these companies have done it way bigger. But yeah, I mean, like in our, like online education industry, and at the scale, at the profit that we did, and we were operating at like 5-6x ROIs. And so we scaled a ton. Now what we should have done in 2022 was, okay, we innovated, we produced, now let's stabilize. But what we did is we got stuck in innovation and, well, really we got stuck in production because we innovated once and then we just kept on wanting to produce. And so January was our highest month ever in the company. And then from there was just a continued decline because what we lacked is like we skipped so many business levels, because you go from 1 to 5, 5 to 10 to, and it's like we leaked, we went from like $1 million business to a 12, 13, 2022, we closed the year with 16 and a half. So almost a $20 million business without systems, without processes. I did not have a finance and admin department, I didn't have an operations team. I had a coaching team and a customer service team, but I didn't have an operations team. We didn't have our systems and processes documented. We didn't have real tracking. It was we were doing about 500,000 zaps every single month.
Oh, God.
It was a bunch of stuff literally flying everywhere. It was, Google Sheets upon Google Sheets. And as we kept on going, obviously hindsight 2020, look back and it's like, what the fuck were we thinking? How are we supposed to operate a business like this?
Yeah.
But again, it's like, just being a visionary CEO, I'm just like, I want to go a million. It's like, because for us, it was like, we got to 2 million a month. We can go to 10 million a month. Let's keep going.
Yeah. All right. So I got a bunch of questions on that because first of all, I think the biggest lesson for most people that are in the, post 1 million mark, a few million or more, is that your systems don't need to be perfect to drive more revenue. And you can just dump gas on it and get more revenue in. And there are lots of different approaches to this. Like you said, seeing innovation as a phase and then production as a phase before stabilization. But people do that differently. Plenty of people want to create a stable system as they're growing or stabilize before they put gas on it, right? And so there's not one way, but for all of the OCD perfectionists out there, you got to know that you can grab Zapier and some sheets and just dump gas on the fire and grow. So I think that that's awesome. But I want to drill into the model specifically because I'm familiar with the shout outs. And I know a lot of our clients have driven business that way inside the walls of Easy Pay Direct. But can you break down how that model worked for you? Like, what is that sales cycle and what was the funnel? And to be clear, this is selling one offer, which is learn how to create a store on Amazon. Is that right?
Yeah, it's just a mentorship offer, $4,800, and that was the other problem, right? There wasn't lifetime value to the customer, but so just to kind of break down the model, it's an ecosystem. It lives in an ecosystem, and it's two parts. So there's the content, and there's the actual like paid ads or the shout outs. One doesn't work without the other. It has to be both both together, So the way that we grew from I think 25,000 followers and this is, as our followers grew, our revenue grew. 25,000 followers, I think, in January 2021 to January 2022, we had about 2 million followers. So it literally grew more than 2 million, almost 2 million followers in like a year, you know? The way that the ecosystem works is you have a content strategy that you're posting on your page. So for us, it was sliders and video, reels, like short 30-second, 60-second reels. And we have our own strategy of like how to find the viral content and stuff like that. So we're posting between 4 to 6 times a day there. And then there is the shout outs strategy. So the shout outs is reaching out to motivational pages, people in the business niche, and then just simply having your top content that performed on your page be the piece to shout out. But then instead of telling people click the link in my bio, you tell them to follow your page. So from there, what they do is they click on the caption, they follow your page, and then through your content, you tell them to convert and to click the link in bio. And the funnel was a video sales letter funnel. So a VSL funnel. It was a opt-in page, video, 20-minute video, survey, book a call, confirmation. And then from there, it's a sales rep. It was about a two-week sales cycle.
Awesome. Super helpful. So you started by saying that it was shout outs, and I think you said ads, but then you talked about what sounded like organic, what sounded like creating reels and a bunch of content. Were you putting money behind the reels and driving them that way, or were you boosting them? How did that work?
No. So what I meant by ads is like that was our paid ads, which was the shout outs. Like the shout outs were we were paying to play, right? So that's like our quote unquote paid ads.
Got it.
But the organic content is just organic for our followers. So people that followed us saw our content. And then from there, every single piece of content had a CTA, which is click the link in my bio if you want to learn more. And then they go through the VSL funnel.
Got it. So all content had CTAs to push back to the bio. That's interesting. Yeah. And you were doing or are doing 4 to 6 a day, which is a lot of stuff.
Lot. Yeah.
What? Tell me about the. So I want to talk about let's talk about the how you ideate that. What's the process like to decide what content you're going to make? How deliberate is it? How often do you shoot? How do you break that apart? Because this is your whole model, right? It's everything you're focused on. We both know people that, myself included, where they're trying to figure out the best path to integrate organic into their current marketing model. How do you add it as a channel to get traffic through, and aren't doing a good job of it? And so I think that the nuances of how you design that are highly relevant, whether it's your whole model or it's something that you're trying to add. How did you approach that, and how did you ultimately figure it out?
So the system was, there is, I think, it's an assembly line. The content goes through an assembly line, and there's 4 pieces. There's 4 checkpoints pretty much. So first you have an idea finder. So you have someone that's out there looking for viral ideas that we can make relevant to our brand. So this could be on pages like Millionaire Mentor or Wealth or whatever, just viral ideas that are happening right now. You take that and then you say, okay, how can I make this relevant to what I'm doing? So you take the idea and then you create relevancy to it. So idea finder, then it goes to copywriter. So copywriter takes that idea and says, okay, this is how I'm going to write it in our voice. They understand the voice, they understand me, they understand how I think, they understand how I talk. And so that way it sounds like I am actually talking, not just some random person. And then they write it. They decide if it's video or slider. They write the slides or write the caption or write what they want it to look like. And then from there, it goes to if it's a slider, it goes to graphic designer. So they design the main graphic and then all the slides and if there's a CTA or not. If it's a video that like B-roll and like clips, there's like lifestyle stuff. You could put like they have like hundreds of clips from me that we've recorded over the years that they put together. They put captions and like music and stuff like that. Or if it's something that I need to shoot. So if it's something that I need to shoot, then it goes into a doc. And then I have a shooting day. So every Thursday I have blocked out where I shoot content, and I do 21 pieces of content, 21 shorts. So that gives them 3 pieces per day over a period of a week. And that usually takes me about 2 hours. In the beginning, it used to take like 4 or 5 hours, but now I'm just used to it, right? And then and then the video gets uploaded, again, goes to the graphic designer. They edit whatever they have to do. And then from there, it goes to the person that's going to post on social media. So they post it on Instagram mainly, obviously. And then recently we started posting on TikTok, Facebook Reels, and YouTube Shorts.
Got it. Super helpful. How involved are you in the process of approving the final product that goes out, if at all, right now?
Not really in the approval process. It's like the team has a process, so I just kind of provide them the resources that they need to become successful, which is recording the videos that they need me to record.
Do you ever have stuff go out where you look at it and you're like, shit, I hate that?
It's happened in the past more than now. There was a point in time, and there was a point in time where I used to look at my page and be like, I wouldn't follow this page, but it was getting good results, But now we're trying to integrate more of things that like now I look at my page and I'm like, shit, this is actually pretty valuable stuff, So we've changed the way that I shoot content, especially. So before, they would give me content scripts. So I would literally look at my phone and then I would read a script and I would say it. Read a script, put on my stage face, every time I look at the camera and like read it and then just kind of talk like that. And I didn't exactly like it because it was all about conversion and all about, that kind of stuff. Very optimized. And sometimes it just came off weird. Like it was cringe, Where now it's more of, they give me the idea. They give me 3 hooks because we test hooks every now and then. And then that hook gives me what to talk about. And I know that I have 30, 60 seconds and I have a formula. It's like, is this entertaining? Am I just going to talk about the 3 top restaurants that I like in Miami? Am I going to talk about how I like my steak? Or is it more of inspiration? I'm going to tell a short story and then a lesson learned. Am I doing a book review? These are the 3 lessons that I learned from reading this book, or whatever it is. So there's a formula there. And then at the end, it's like, what's the CTA? Is it click the link in my bio? Is it comment below? Is it follow my page? Is it whatever, So,
yeah, I think that's great. Moving into the funnel part of it, you were going a VSL for this, so video sales letter. So you're driving people outside of Instagram or the social platform to a page to watch something to then book a call and have a salesperson close them. Did you test that against straight to DMs? So a lot of our clients go, their call to action is comment or shoot me a DM or comment this word, and then somebody will hit them up via DM, direct message, and then try to close them through the DM.
Yeah. So when we had a lot of volume coming in, we're not doing as much volume as we used to last year. At the highest levels of the company, we broke Instagram DMs like about half a dozen times, and Instagram would keep on like restricting us from doing things because you can only, at some point we were getting about 1,200 opt-ins a day. So with that kind of volume, it was just not humanly possible to catch up. And also it was just not possible to, like, Instagram kept on messing with us. And then we would add like different softwares like ManyChat, Mobile Monkey, all that stuff. And then they kept on breaking. And then we realized that even if every single piece of our content, we tell people to DM us, about 30% of people will still click the link in bio, And we just realized it was an easier process. We do have we have DM setters now. It's something that we implemented about 6 months ago or so. So we have people, because we get organically people just reaching out to us, asking questions all the time. And so, there's people in there just talking to people, setting them up for setters, that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's not our main strategy though.
That makes sense. And that's, I think that's a really important lesson for people that are trying to figure out the model and getting it moving versus doing it at a greater scale. Like you said, if you have 1,200 coming in, I don't know how you manage that, or if you manage it. Maybe there's a way, right? But if you're getting throttled, you don't, right? Yeah. If they're saying, hey, you're only allowed to respond to 100 a day or 50 a day, then you're fucked.
Yeah. And I think this is one of the reasons why a lot of people have not cracked the whole Instagram thing. And by the way, they're not as, like Instagram shoutouts are not as, they're not as effective as they were last year, the year before. They were, I mean, when we first started in 2021, that was like the best, 2021, first half of 2022, they were like, we had the highest ROIs. We were getting 6, 7x ROIs. On average, we've gotten about 4 to 5x ROIs. But right now we're probably getting about 2.5x ROIs. So they're not as lucrative. And this is why we've over the last 4 or 5 months, we've shifted away from full focus on Instagram. to like paid ads, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, that kind of stuff. We started a Facebook group as well, trying to funnel people that way. But even when it was lucrative, the thing is, like, the cool thing about paid ads, you're going to put out an ad, you can target exactly the kind of people you want, and then there's like tracking every step of the way. Well, there's none of that with Instagram. You don't know if, like, at some point we were promoting with like 300 pages. We don't know the kind of traffic that's coming from each one of those pages because they're all driving traffic to our page. We don't have control of the kind of traffic. So we were getting like 30, 40, like right now, if you look at our page, about 40% of our followers are India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. Nothing against them. They're never going to be buyers for our $5,000 program. Now we had a $40 program, $47 program for them, but we just can't get them the kind of result that we get our $5,000 clients, and unless I take my entire operation to India and move myself to India, it's like I can't afford to give them the kind of result and the kind of service at a $40, even $100 offer. You know what I mean? So you don't have any of those controls when it comes to Instagram, and I think this is probably why a lot of people didn't take it as seriously, or didn't just go at the what's it called, the go all the way, because it's not as easy to figure out. You know what I mean? And to track and everything.
Yeah, I get it. So today, do you regret any of those choices? Because we opened the conversation saying offer versus brand, and you're leaning in the direction of brand right now. Do you feel like you should have systemized further, or are you happy with the path you took and the lessons you got out of it? Would you have done it any differently?
I mean, hindsight is 2020, but it's like, would I have taken on a partner when I started my restaurant? Should I have taken on a partner when I started my restaurant? Absolutely. Going at it by myself was the dumbest thing. I didn't know anything about restaurants, but it's like, what if I had succeeded with my restaurant? Would I have been here? Right. I do believe, I don't believe in regrets. I believe that there's a quote, I don't know who said it a long time ago. I just kind of really, I live by it. I never lose. I either win or I learn. So this whole thing just been a learning lesson, man. I wouldn't be the person I am today. It's like we don't come out of our mothers with a manual of how to do this and how to do that. It's like you just go out there and you figure it out. And if you're smart enough, you reach out to people and learn through their mistakes. But what I've realized is, and maybe I'm just slow, and I think I am slower than the normal, the average person. It takes me a couple of times to really catch on to lessons. But sometimes, like, people say, don't do this. Like, we've done it and we've eaten shit. I'm like, oh yeah, I know, I shouldn't do it. And 6 months later, I look back, I'm like, oh, I still did it. And I ate shit. Why didn't I just not do it? Sometimes you just have to, it's like fire. It's like you just have to put your finger in and get burned for you to say, oh shit, this is hot. I shouldn't do it. You know what I mean? But there's no regret.
I like to say that I'm very good at learning from my own mistakes after I make them a few times. But I'm not very good at learning from other people's mistakes.
Yeah.
So I guess what I was getting at, or what I want to know, is if you were to do it, let's say you're launching a new thing right now, would you follow the same path, or would you?
I hope not.
Yeah. So the lessons are more structure would have been helpful out of that.
Well, there is a fine line, because what you said there earlier is like there's people that get stuck in the structure.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe in jump and build it as you're falling, build the plane as you're falling. But then there is as you grow as an entrepreneur, as a company, those falls, if you don't build it in time, become a lot more severe. When you're 5 people, when you're 10 people, and you're 20 people, it's like, okay, it's just, but if you're a company that's got 500 employees, it's like, dude, if you fuck up here, like forget your life and you going bankrupt or whatever. It's like, you're responsible for 500 families, not to mention your vendors and their families, your clients and their families, because right now, if BJK University goes bankrupt, okay, we're 40 I go bankrupt, whatever, man. I've been through it. It's like, I didn't grow up with money. It's whatever, I'll figure it out again. So beyond me, it's 40 people. Okay. So that's them and their families, but they'll probably go get a job and be okay. Some of them maybe will take a psychological hit and an emotional hit more than financial hit. But then there's the thousands, like, what about the thousands of our clients? Like, what the fuck happens to them? If I can't pay my employees, like, I can't provide service. And I've promised these people a certain level of service, And then what about them and their their families, What about the millions of people that watch me and like listen to my shit all the time, Like, what happens to them? I remember, and I know we're kind of coming to an end here, but I remember that in 2020, 2 years prior to that, I used to follow Grant Cardone religiously. Every content piece that went out, every YouTube video, everything. And in COVID, I needed Grant to show up for me because I was fucking terrified. I was scared as shit. I didn't know what the hell was happening in the world. Like, my entire belief system had shattered because of like the entire world is shut down. I never knew this would happen. And I remember a video of Grant Cardone. He was away somewhere and he was sitting on this, I remember where he was sitting. He was sitting in a porch or whatever. And then I don't know if you remember, this is the video when he said that he had let go like 50 of his employees and they had all these things going on and stuff like that. And you could see it on his face. He was scared as fuck. And just because he showed up that way, it impacted me personally. Because I'm like, I need Grant to be Grant right now. I need him to show up like the ruthless, just like, I don't give a shit about anything. I'm going to do me. I want that Grant. And he didn't show up that way. And it impacted me negatively. And I would go for about 3 months to snap out of it. And luckily I snapped out of it and I found my way and did that. But it's like, it's not about me anymore, man. It's about all these people out there. So it's like, I got to show up for them, I don't know how we ended here, but yeah, I wanted to say that.
Well, let me ask you a couple quick ones if you've got a couple minutes here.
Yeah, that's fine.
So first, you're telling people or you're teaching people how to build Amazon stores. Why Amazon versus their own URL traditional e-com store?
Yeah.
And is there a place for both? How do you see the intersection between those two things?
I don't believe in competition, so is there room for both? Absolutely. If you held a gun to my head, I would say Amazon all day. Many reasons. I mean, your own URL, you got to figure out the biggest problem that any business has, which is traffic and customers. 53% of all online sales happen on Amazon. So it's like people are going to Amazon with an intention to buy. You don't go to Amazon to cruise around and just look at and like think about it. You go to Amazon to buy something. So if you have a good strategy to finding the right product, putting it in front of the right customer, you're going to make sales. It's about how much knowledge you have, how many eyeballs can you get to your product. So it's like, they have logistics figured out. They have customer service figured out. Delivery. If you have your own product, it's like, how long again is it going to take for the customer to get it? Like, no thanks. It's probably coming from China or coming from, or you're shipping it yourself or what, Amazon has all that stuff figured out. I'd rather just plug in my business into theirs and just say, thank you very much. Here's 25% of my sales. You keep it. I'll keep my portion and let's do business together.
All right. So you're heavy on content 4 to 6 times a day. It's a lot to post. It is almost June of 2023. How has AI impacted your content production, if at all?
Oh, I mean, tremendously, man. Our copywriters right now, we used to have 3 copywriters. Right now we have 1. The other 2, we had to let go not because of AI, but because they just weren't as good. And then we just realized that the 1 person that we have right now can do the job of 3 more efficiently, more effectively. And we can pay them more, so that's good. But it's like Jim Collins says, he says, hire 5, work them like 10, pay them like 8, So AI has definitely done that. Copy, video. We're also able to produce video right now in a third of the cost that we did before. There's a lot of cool things that are happening with AI. So we're very grateful for it, just as long as they don't take my job. So, or maybe they won't. They will one day. I don't know. We'll see.
What's the number one tip you'd give people if they're launching a business that's reliant on social to drive traffic in 2023?
Figure out the organic content game before you go paid. I think, a lot of people go paid first just because it's quote unquote easier, but it's more expensive, because like with organic, it takes your time. When you're first starting out as an entrepreneur, the thing that you have the most is time, unless you're a serial successful entrepreneur. You're Elon Musk and I've already have several billion-dollar businesses. I'm not going to go. And although, Elon spends the time to learn, but it's like, when I first started my consulting business, the thing that I did have, well, not a whole lot of, but the thing that I did have was I had time. Although I had money, but I also had a lot of time. So I figured out the organic thing, and keep it. That's the problem that I didn't do, was that I had figured out organic on, not YouTube, but on Facebook. And I was really big on Facebook. A lot of my business came through Facebook. But once I went paid, it was just a lot of work. And instead of optimizing it, I completely dumped it. So there was that big, because it's profitable, right? It's like outside of time, everything is profits. And that's really important for your business. It's a lot of cash injection in your business that'll help you to grow.
Last one here, because I know we've got a hard stop. The theme here that popped up a bunch of times that we didn't really close the loop on is having an offer versus building a brand. Yes. And this is a huge conversation. And it's and we can, if you've got a few minutes, we can stretch into it. But you built the company on an offer, which was, hey, I'll teach you how to build an Amazon store and make money on Amazon. What's the difference between that and a brand? And what are you doing right now to build that into a brand versus that one offer?
Yeah, so it's the difference between building an offer and building a company, a real company, right? And the thing that I've noticed in this space, in this online education space, is you'll see someone come up, they'll do great. They're on ClickFunnels stage, getting the 7-figure, the 8-figure, whatever award. Everyone's talking about them. They're all over social, and then they go away. And then, 6 months later, this new person comes up, and then they're great, blah, blah, blah. Everyone's talking about them. They're all on all podcasts, and then they go away. And you only see a few people that come, and then they stay, and they grow, and so on, right? And that, I believe, a lot of it has to do because a lot of people build offers, not real companies. Because when you build an offer, you have a market, product market fit, and it takes off, and it does great, and everyone talks about you. But then that's when you get into the situation where I was in a year ago, which was, how do you take this now and build a real company out of it? How do you keep scaling? How do you, maintain good team culture, right? So it's like, how do you build systems? How do you build processes? Like, this is boring shit that, the typical visionary online guru doesn't want to do. They just want to make the quick buck. They want to do the offer, and then they want to do a new launch, and then they want to make a bunch of money and go on to the next thing. That's why I don't want to name names here, but you'll see the same person. It's like, when AI is hot, they're now into AI. And then when, crypto's hot, now they're crypto. And then NFTs, and now they have an NFT course. Like, dude, pick a lane. Like, what are you exactly? So it's the boring work that a lot of people don't want to do that gets you to a real company, And so to answer your question of like, what are the things that we're doing is, stabilize the third phase. That's the thing. I think a lot of people get stuck in those two phases, which is innovation, production, new offer. Innovation, production, new offer. And no one goes to stabilization. And stabilization is building processes, building systems, building longevity, diversifying a little bit, building a sustainable company. Because for us, we built our company on one offer, one funnel, one traffic source. And I was very freaking proud of that, again, that's when my ego kicked in, and I was like, I'm going to show every motherfucker in this industry how I'm going to build $100 million business with one offer, one funnel, one source, until Instagram decided to shut us down. And we went from $1.5 million a month to $200,000 a month overnight. Because our, the channel that brought 95% of our income just disappeared overnight for 2.5 months. We had to let go tens of sales reps. We had to do a whole bunch of things that, I wish we didn't have to do, but it's like, that's what happens when you think of, I'm not building an offer here. I'm building a real sustainable company. And you start thinking long-term, not just today, tomorrow, next month.
That's great. Well, that's a big conversation we can get into another time, but we could talk about it for like 6 hours. Cause within that is, the nuances of operations, marketing and other channels, the sales process, culture, values, distributed workforce, et cetera. But a bigger conversation than we can fully open right now. I appreciate you carving out time. I think that at a variety of different levels, the experience that you've had through that one offer, one channel is tremendously valuable, both to new people and people that are looking to expand into that one channel. And the lessons that you've gotten from it will be helpful for that, Easy Pay Direct included. If people want to find out more about you, where do you want to point them?
Yeah, I mean, they can go to Instagram. Just look me up, Bashar Katou. It's the one with a check mark, because there's like a dozen other Bashar Katous that are just spelled a little differently. So make sure it's the one that's verified. And if any of the other pages, you start following them or they start following you, they send you a link, please don't click on it because they will be scamming you. So just head on to my Instagram page.
Love it, man. Bashar, good to see you. I appreciate you carving out the time.
Appreciate it, brother. Thank you very much for having me.
Love it. I hope you enjoyed the episode as much as I enjoyed doing it. I need your help. There are 3 places you can find Beyond a Million. The podcast itself, beyondamillion.com, which has some cool free resources, including a free course. And we finally launched the Beyond a Million YouTube channel. I would love it if you would go there and subscribe. And if you don't want to, you still would probably enjoy seeing the visual content. Check it out, youtube.com/@Beyond a Million.